Start recording. Let's have a look. Okay. Let me just sort this out. Let's put that here. And manage participants there. So 8 letters, 40 minutes. Let's see what we can do. Okay. Now, 190 words. That's not so bad. Not so bad. Mrs. Mary Clark, 54 years old. The purpose of this letter, you don't have to say that. The purpose of this letter, simply say, I am writing. For Mrs. Clark, whose signs and symptoms are suggestive of bronchogenic carcinoma, what from a help? What you mean from like a random healthcare facility? Because that's what that means. That's no good. So why not do it? I am writing to request your further investigation and evaluation of Mrs. Clark, whose signs and symptoms, etc., etc. Okay. Mrs. Clark visited the practice with complaints of sore throat, body aches, fever and cough, for which she was prescribed augmentin. Today, Mrs. Clark, hang on, make sure these changes are on. Okay. We presented with similar symptoms along with shortness of breath and feeling of discomfort on chest, in the chest or in her chest. On respiratory examination of sense consolidation and wheeze in mid-zone of right lung. Where's your articles? Articles, don't forget them. Don't make grammar mistakes like that. In addition, imaging techniques such as what? You mean you gave her an X-ray or a CT? Imaging techniques such as, okay. Revealed a right middle lobe, atherosclerosis and the right hilum. Okay, Mrs. Clark is a chronic smoker. Why is this present simple? Why is it present simple? So we're using for, so what tense? Somebody tell me what tense we should be using. Somebody tell me what tense instead of present simple. Anybody tell me? Present perfect continuous. Okay. Now, I will put something in front of this regarding her social and medical history, because otherwise it's just dropped in out of nowhere. Where's it come from? Where's it come from? And indeed, why is it here? So we've got a visit. She had a cough. She came again. She's not feeling good. She's got a cough. I examined her and I found this. She's a smoker. So and then you've got something here about possible diagnosis. So it seems like it's broken up. It's disjointed, right? So when you've got a visit, a paragraph, right? The patient comes, they present, they say, you examine, you find, then what you did or what you do, right? So they come, they complain, you take a look, and then you take action. That's what should be in a paragraph of a visit. It makes sense. It has a logic. They come, you take a look, you find, you take action, right? So here we've got, she came, I found, oh, and by the way, just to go aside, she's a smoker, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Mrs. Clark has been explained. What? Has been explained? How can you use present perfect passive? Has been explained? You mean you explained to her about the diagnosis? Yeah? You can't use that there. That doesn't work. And what diagnosis? You don't say anything about it. You say, I found this, I found that, which means what? What's the diagnosis? What is it that you think it is? Okay, we need further investigations such as a bronchoscopy or a biopsy. In view of the above, Mrs. Carter detailed assessment investigations, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so try to keep a logical flow, okay? Don't be breaking up visits, then putting in this history and the diagnosis that you haven't mentioned yet. So that needs a bit of work out. Just reposition this microphone. That needs a bit of work in terms of organization. Okay, what's this next one? Peter Sullivan. I think you've spelt that wrong, but I haven't got time to change everything. A fixed 56-year-old man. 56-year-old man. Right. What is that? That's for dear OB. I can count. And Mr. Peter, that sounds like a man to me. So, repetition, we don't need it. Who presented with large moles in his right shoulder and back, whose current condition, right, so instead of having two sentences, a short sentence, presented with large moles in his right shoulder and his back, and whose current condition, you could make it a single sentence. On short urgent assessment, including a biopsy. Okay. Earlier today, Mr. Sullivan, well, that's been spelled wrong, attended our emergency department with a complaint, well, of severe right arm pain owing to the, sorry. Now, you don't use a definite article for the first mention. When you are introducing something for the first time, you use indefinite article. Okay, then subsequent mentions, you use a definite article owing to a, or what should be an or a fracture for which he was measured. And we don't need that comma for which he was managed accordingly. In the meanwhile, what? In the meantime, what? You don't need that. Simply say, upon examination, his physical examination revealed a large mole on his right shoulder, measuring about 6 to 7 millimeters in diameter. Why, notably, why should we note this? Simply say the edge. Measuring about 6 to 7 inches in, millimeters in a diameter. The edge of the mole were edges, subject verb, and it was demonstrating. Can a mole demonstrate? Variable colors, varying, which is not the same as variable, ranging from light brown to dark what? Dark brown, dark red, dark green. Apart from this, there was another large mole which was evident on his neck. This mole was dark red in color with a measurement besides them. But why do we have 4 sentences about a single mole? You could put all this into one sentence. Also, there was the examination revealed another mole on the neck, 5 to 7 millimeters in size, which was dark red in color with raised borders. You know, so you could put like those 3 sentences there into a single sentence instead of having 1, 2, 3, 4 for one particular mole. I think that's too many. We don't need that. In view of the above, Mr. Sullivan's condition demands thorough dermatological, well, it probably does, and management as soon as possible. So watch them short sentences. Okay, and by the way, that was a bit short, 177 words, so watch that. Okay, number 3. Wanting to refer Mr. McRae, okay, urgent assessment, signs and symptoms. Okay, now that's pretty good, right? Nice and simple, a single sentence. Okay, regarding his social and medical history, he is overweight and a moderate smoker. Is that his medical history? Okay, not really, but still. Initially, I mean, actually, that's kind of short, isn't it, for a history paragraph? One short sentence. Okay, initially on 19th at 9:13, Mr. McRae presented with a complaint of fever, sore throat, headache, and joints body on examination. Apart from high temperature, from a high temperature, for which paracetamol in general was prescribed. He was advised to take adequate rest. Okay, on subsequent visit, is it on a subsequent visit? Mr. McRae complained of severe weakness and discomfort and altered bowel habits for several weeks. His examinations were uneventful. However, a series of tests were ordered, such as a complete blood count, a blood test, and review visit was scheduled. This is something else, so it needs to be separated by a comma. On review today, Mr. McRae is feeling unwell, and his investigations revealed anemia, A positive fecal blood test, normal colonoscopy. In addition, a biopsy was taken, which revealed adenocarcinoma in the ascending colon. All reports are being attached to this letter. It would be appreciated if it says patient. Okay. So not so bad. Just watch your article use. Okay, just watch those. Watch your pronouns. Watch your article use. Okay. Let's have a look at this one. I'm writing to request urgent admission for, or urgent admission. Well, I would say the urgent admission of. It's a particular admission. And it's not for, isn't it? It's like of. You want her to be admitted in. The urgent admission of Mrs. Clark, whose demonstrating features are, or who is demonstrating features of. It's one of those two, right? So either who is demonstrating features of unstable angina. I would appreciate your further assessment and consultation regarding the risks, particular risks, so with a definite article of myocardial infarction. Regarding Mrs. Clark's social medical history, she's a 64-year-old social drinker who has a history, articles of type 2 DM, and hypertension along with hyperlipidemia. However, her condition is well stabilized with blah, 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 blah. In addition to that, she's had a history of MI and stroke with her mother. Okay, today Mrs. Clark presented with 1 week history of dyspnea and frequent attacks of central cushion chest pain that lasted 115 minutes and radiated the left arm. She added the pain was increased. Why are you using continuous verbs by exertion and improved or lessened by resting? However, no history of other relevant complaints was reported. Upon Mrs. Clark's examination, no abnormalities were observed. Put a comment. In addition, the resting ECG was normal. Consequently, I can't remember if it's 2 Fs. No, it must be 2 Rs. Yes, referred urgently to your care. In view of the above, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Not so bad. Just watch these verb forms. I don't know why you're using present participle, verb plus ing, when it should be past tense. Watch that. You've got 4 examples in 2 sentences. And watch your articles again. Okay, doke. Let's have a look. Writing to request your urgent assessment management, Mr. Foucault's, who was suffering from wider gastrointestinal symptoms. That's good. Mr. Foucault's medical history. He has been suffering from uncomfortable digestive tract symptoms since his childhood, which was trying to make dietary medication to alleviate his symptoms. He has also had anxiety and panic attacks, as well as a cholecystectomy in 2017. He's a heavy smoker and his work requires extensive traveling, and he has recently decreased his working hours due to his symptoms. Okay. I don't know if you can hear, there's a bit of of vacuuming in the corridor. Never mind. I hope it doesn't show. On today's consultation, he presented to my clinic complaining of having blood in his stool, frequent diarrhea, fatigue, and intermittent abdominal pain. The clinical examination detected abdominal tenderness, palpable masses, blah, 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 blah. Subsequently, he was advised to have a Mediterranean diet. In view of the above, I'm referring Mr. Foucault into your care. I would appreciate it. Why? I would appreciate it if you could assess and manage his condition after making a definitive diagnosis. Watch your articles again. Okay, 202 words. That's not bad. Just check that one. That's 202 words. That one was 174. Like so, because we've got one or two here that are pretty short. I think they're coming up a bit later. Some that are pretty short. Okay, Brett Collister. I'm writing to request your further assessment manager, Mr. Cross, whose blood results are indicative of DM type 2. Mr. Collins presented in my clinic, well, just presented, complaints of severe fatigue, sore eyes and dizziness, possibly because of his low blood pressure for the last 3 to 4 weeks. The examination was unremarkable, short sentence. Therefore, routine blood tests, right, were advised, what you advise now. Now, you've got to be clear here, right? Because when it says were advised, it sounds like you advised him to take some routine blood tests. But surely you would arrange them. If I go to a doctor, the doctor doesn't say, I advise you to go and have some tests. They do the tests or they arrange them, So you've got to be careful there. I arranged for, or routine blood tests were arranged instead of advised. Now, on review, not on reviews, on review today, there was no improvement in his symptoms, which were the same as before, with worsened vision. His blood results showed high random and fasted blood sugar levels, as well as HbA1c and cholesterol. Please note he's overweight with a current BMI of, he's supposed to make complete sentences. Which has educated what? Who has educated whom? What? Which has educated? What? Which he has been educated, or which you recommended, which you advised? No idea what that means. To reduce his weight and increase exercise. Right. That needs to be spelled out. It's not clear as to who's doing what. And we're most grateful if you could assess Mr. Collister's, and it's possessive, so it's a genitive case, health condition. Confirm a diagnosis, hesitate to contact me, blah, blah, blah. Okay, not bad. Oh, yes, this is the one. 150 words. Very, very short. Very, very short. I'm writing to update you regarding Mrs. I'm not sure if it's Grazia or Garcia. Oh, okay, who was referred as having suspected meningitis. Her diagnosis confirmed now as what? Her diagnosis is confirmed now. These are not even complete sentences. I'm writing to update you regarding Mrs. Grazia, who was referred as having suspected meningitis. I would change this. I mean, why would you say why would you say she was suspected and it's now confirmed? Why wouldn't you simply say whose diagnosis has been confirmed as? So, it's like, it's confusing things. Her diagnosis is confirmed now as bacterial meningitis. Kindly contact her close contacts and family members for urgent medical assessment. So we've got 3 sentences in that introduction. We only need 1, really. Mrs. Grazia presented with a 1-week history of headache, photophobia, rash, and joint pain. On examination, she had particular rashes, bruises, and neck stiffness. A blood test revealed a high white cell count at CRP level. I would probably put article. A high white cell count at CRP level. CRP was suggest bacterial meningitis and something. Okay, that's not bad. The management was initially commenced on blah, 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 and later benzoyl penicillin was instituted. The coding serious coach she responded to the treatment. Very short sentence, that. Why isn't that part of a previous sentence? Condition was discussed, not even a complete sentence, with the family, and notification of what was sent to the Department of Human Services. It would be acknowledged. What you mean? It would be appreciated, not acknowledged. It would be appreciated if you could assess whose close contacts, her close contacts, signs of meningitis, and provide a keynote if required. So that is far too short. 150 words. I'm sure there's a lot of details that are missing. 150. And some of these are not even complete sentences, so you've got to watch your grammar accordingly. Media. Okay. I'm writing to refer Mr. Newton. Right. Well, we don't need that because we can work out his age here, and who cares if he's an accountant. Well, symptoms of inflammatory bowel disease, your further diagnosis and assessment would be grateful. What? You mean you would be grateful for, or he would be grateful, or would be appreciated, or would be gratefully appreciated? Because that doesn't make sense. Okay, so you need something like regarding his medical history, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Newton is single, lives with his parents. Who cares? He smokes 10 to 15 cigarettes a day. Again, who cares? Unless you're going to make something out of this, don't include it. It's pointless. Unless you're going to actually draw some connection, it's kind of pointless. Regarding his medical history, he had a 600 track in both right and in both right and left OTC, in which OTC had for which OTC had been taken or was taken. Probably better. Please note his uncle suffers. You don't need a comma if it's third person S verb. It's not possessive or genitive, so you don't need a comma. Uncle suffers from Crohn's disease. In 2015, as Mr. Newton was sent to the clinic with form of history of chronic mild diarrhea. Should that be an O there? Yeah. I think, how do you spell that? Done. Diarrhea. Associated with a low-grade intermittent chronic abdominal pain, along with a weight loss. His examination is, well, shouldn't it be was, because it happened in the past. General tenderness, investigations revealed elevation. Well, right. Investigations, are you a private detective? That mean tests. Investigations revealed elevation in the white blood cell count. Might be able to see CRP in the ESR, and prolific test that has been advised to quit smoking, and he has been advised to quit smoking. Okay, and counselling regarding IBD. What has been provided? Because that's not a proper sentence. In view of the above, Mr. Newton is being referred to you for relevant investigations. Any queries, do not hesitate to contact me. Now, again, 165 words, way too short, right? We've got 150, 165, that's too short. That's not enough for this purpose, not enough. Now, that was pretty quick. I managed to get through those. So what I will do now, I will open for questions. Excuse me. If anybody has any, you can raise your hand and I'll turn on your microphone, or you can type your question into the chat box. Right, somebody has got their hand up. Where are you? It's Sachin. Okay. Hello, Sachin. Hello. Have you got your microphone on? Because we can't hear you. Hello. Sachin? Your microphone, I'll try and turn it on mute. Don't do anything. Let me try. Your microphone should be turned on now. However, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was wondering, can I write, I am writing, or I am prescribing this kind of medications to this patient. Should I use, should I not use I? Is that, hello?
I'm still here. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was wondering if I can use the word I in my writing.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, you are the author.
Yeah.
Are you not? You did take some action. I prescribed, I admitted. You have to show a range of structure, all right? A range.
Okay.
You can use both active and passive.
So yeah,
Perfectly
so
fine.
because most of the letters I usually find it that she was prescribed with some sort of medication.
Well, yes, but you know, again, right? Use of passive is appropriate when appropriate. So, for example, right? Say you were a doctor at a clinic, and the patient came in and had some kind of surgery, etc. Then passive would be appropriate because you don't know who admitted her, who performed the surgery, who did, etc. Yeah, you know what I mean? Okay. So if you're like a doctor in a clinic, or as I say, in a hospital, or like a nurse, and you didn't perform the action, you're a member of staff, and someone else on that staff prescribed, etc. Then yes, use of passive, because we don't know who performed the action, you know. But all I'm saying is, when somebody comes and sits in your office opposite you, the other side of the desk, you don't really need passive because you performed the action. Now, just so, I mean, and you don't have to use one particular voice all of the time. You can use passive, active. The criteria wants you to use a range of structure, a range of grammar. So if you only stick to one, you're not showing a range. It's an English test, after all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Right. Anybody else got any questions? There's only 4 of you here. That's not very good, but still, it's based on what time I have, and I have time this morning. Does anybody else have any questions? Because I've still got 20 minutes or so. Anybody got any questions? I'll just wait for a second and see if anybody can think of anything. I might go back to Telegram and see if anybody's posted anything, any new letters. I'll just have a look. Did anybody post anything? Let's see. Indira posted one. What else have we got? Because I picked up these letters earlier in the morning. What else have we got? Let me see. So does anybody have any questions or anything? No? Oh, okay then. So that was short and sweet. I'll see you tomorrow then. And if anybody's got any letters, we'll take a look at them then. Okay.